today I'm going to do a few practice problems for Math Lesson 8 with you. So our first problem is 27 hundredths. So we always want you to look at the denominator to see what base 10 blocks you're going to be using. So in this case, our denominator is 100, so we're going to be using the unit cubes. But I noticed that 27 is a pretty big number, and I noticed that 20 and 7 make up 27, so I know that I can use 2 rods to make up that 20. And then 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I have 27 hundredths. Next, I have 5 tenths plus 4 hundredths. So I always like to start with my tenths first. So I'm going to make 5 tenths green. And I notice that my denominator is 10, so I'm going to use rods. So I'm going to need 5 rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I see I have 4 hundredths, and I see that my denominator is hundredths, so I'm going to use the unit cube. So I'm going to do 4 units. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I need to find the sum of these two fractions, so then I can skip count by tens with my rods, and then I'll count these ones. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. 54 hundredths. Number 3, I have 8 tenths plus 3 tenths plus 4 hundredths. So I have 3 add-ins this time. So I'm going to start with my tenths. So I'm going to first do 8 tenths. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to use another color to represent 3 tenths. 1, 2. Oh, I've filled up 1 hole, so now I need to use another one. So I'm going to need to do 1 over here. That means our fraction is going to be greater than 1. And lastly, we have 4 hundredths. And I'm going to take a look at that denominator, and I know I'm going to use my unit cubes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I know that this is 1 whole, so I know I can keep 1 whole there, which is a little different from our previous problems. And then for this decimal grid, I see that I have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I know that I'm using hundredths because they're units. 14 hundredths. In our last problem, we have 6 tenths plus 5 tenths plus 6 hundredths. Again, I always like to start with the tenths because those are the easier ones because they're rods. So 6 tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'll do 5 tenths. Again, I'm still using those rods because my denominator is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finished 1, but I still need to have my 5th one. And last but not least, we have our 6 hundredths. So I'm going to use those unit cubes because my denominator is 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll see, okay, we have 1 whole. And here we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hundredths. Now it's your turn to try out some of the problems on your independent practice.